I believe I had said that my plan was to explore these woods west, I guess northwest of Rita's Vineyard. And then at one point I was talking about looping around to the Misty Marshes and the Woodcutters camp and all that stuff, but I guess because I'm here, I'll probably talk to Rita and company after I finish exploring and pick up some quests from them, most likely. But for now, the initial phase of this endeavor is to murder all of the critters everywhere. Anything that moves and is not a human. And really, if I wanted to get hardcore about it, I would be not murdering, but beating up all of the humans to get the combat XP for having beaten all the humans. No thank you, I wanted the heavy branch. I have seen a skeleton. Now I have heard a skeleton. This is not the one I thought I was going to aggro. This is the infinite backstep challenge. These guys being definitely weak to bludgeoning is probably helping to make these guys go down faster. Ow. Alright, now... Well, my telekinesis never got re-equipped. Where... Here we are. There's my telekinesis. Probably should also re-equip my teleport rune while I'm thinking about it. But oh look, there's a cave up yonder. I guess I'll have to explore that at some point. But while I'm thinking about it, there's also supposed to be a wanted poster. Whoops. I somehow overshot my... So there was something about like fire scavengers. Report on the island. They are near the southwest gate of the town. Did I ever do that? This is nowhere near the southwest gate, so... I really don't know if I've gotten those. I remember there being burned out huts somewhere visible. And seeing these burned out huts made me think about that scavenger quest. But this one is not outside the southwest gate of the city, so I really don't remember if I've done those fire scavengers. I might not have. Which is kind of surprising to me, because I thought I had explored all those woods out there. But maybe not. While I'm thinking about it, I may plan to just go back to those woods and double check once I finish with these woods. Here's a mushroom stew, I guess. Actually, do I have any more of that boar stew? I don't know. Pate from leftovers. There's never anything of surviving value in these burned out huts. Plants everywhere that are really hard to see. That's why everyone uses the telekinesis trick to highlight items that you normally wouldn't be able to see. I hear a gobo, I think. A skeleton gobo. Guess I'll save. It's been a little bit of exploration here since I've saved. A little bit of combat. I'd like to aggro something. I'll aggro a boar if possible. I hear gobo skeletons, I think, but I don't see any. Just boars and then blood flies way off in the distance. Are they underneath me? There's a shadow beast. This might be a cave entrance to my right. I think that's probably why. Alright, this can be a difficult fight. Let's see if I can get it right. Don't do that attack. I need you to do the charge attacks, please. No, not those attacks. And don't back up into a tree, please. Or a burned out cottage. Whatever this is. Or another tree. There we go. Ah! Always pretty stressful. I feel a change. Is that a preliminary message about eating X amount of mushrooms? Like 25 mushrooms, you feel a change? So maybe I am getting credit for the mushrooms that were cooked into the mushroom stew, despite this description not explicitly saying that it would preserve the qualities of the mushrooms. Unlike the apple pastry that explicitly says that it preserves qualities of the apples. So this drops down, I think, into area that I've already explored. Kind of. I don't know for sure if I've been on this side of it. I think I have. There's like a campfire down there. Like, is this on the other side of the waterfall? Maybe. Not totally sure. But I'm happy to find a King Sorrel that I can't pick up. Like, why does this happen? This is such a weird glitch that I don't recall ever having an issue with in the other Gothic games, where the interact prompts disappear after looking at the map screen. Okay, so that other side is before the waterfall. I think I have explored that on that side of the river before the waterfall. The fact that I'm not getting any targets with the crossbow or the telekinesis suggests that I indeed have cleared all this stuff out. Unless I'm just somehow out of range. But I don't think that's the case. Oh, well. That's one way to force me to double check this, is if I just randomly slide down a slightly steep cliff. If only I could use a teleport rune to get back to where I want to be. That would be convenient. That would be too convenient for this mod, because every teleportation method has to be from point to point. I think this is a river Myrt dead ahead. Something I missed. There's a couple more over there. Yeah, okay, I'm gonna go grab it. I will hire a carrier to take me back to the city. I believe I can turn in at least one quest for having killed the wet bandit here.
Hey.
While I'm there, I can also maybe look at some of the traders. Does Dak possibly have books if I go to the shipyard?
Stoczni. Ależ oczywiście.
I look at the merchants' inventories and buy books that I haven't read. I can get some extra stats. And then I can head out of town and double check that area at the southwest gate to see if there are any fiery scavengers that I may have forgotten about. Show me your goods. You don't have any goods, but how you doing?
Dzień jak co dzień. Drewno coraz
Yeah, okay. No wares for Dak. Do any of the fishmongers sell books? Probably not.
Znowu? Mówiłem Lorenzo, żeby więcej nie przysyłał do mnie swoich ludzi.
This is different.
Pohandlujmy.
He's got a couple of valuable items. Look at that. Fish fillet with king's sorrel. I'll have to remember that for later. Also, I can maybe test if I do have to pay a fine to the city guard because of the misunderstanding that I had in the private mine of the Araxos Guild on our own private property. Still no new notices. That's how I like it. Don't need to be seeing 1,000 more of those bulletins appear. Show me your fish. Aye. This is kind of a weird detour. Never really taken this road up here. Where is this? I don't even know where I am. Is this like a private housing? I think so. There was like a silver candlestick or something up here at one point. What about you, Vite? Show me your goods. No books. He's got the king's sorrel. What is this? Weapon protection. That's pretty cool. So note to self, Vite and other merchant in Harbor have special foodstuffs that I can buy. It's almost certain that Helga will not have books. Do I need information? I don't need any information. Nothing immediately stands out to me. Also, seemingly a certainty that the owner of the brothel will not have any books for sale. Vlada, show me your goods. No books. Just some jewelry. Boar stew and wine. Ah. Somewhere over here is Alice. I think she might be this way. Maybe. There's the cartographer. He might have books. I doubt it, but water mages are a good one to check. Ludwig, show me your maps. No. He has a map of the sewers. Don't need that now, but probably good to have that at some point. Of course, now that I've bought one, that means someone's going to give me one for free as part of a quest, or I'll find one somewhere. Patrazian doesn't teach me anything, or he doesn't sell me anything, but Laudis does. Show me your wares. No particularly useful books. Never mind. I think these other guys have nothing. This is Alice's shop. Probably not. Show me your wares. I mean, this one would be like really dope if the extra bonuses were something other than crossbow combat. Nothing particularly interest. This guy doesn't really have anything, does he?
Pokaż.
We got belts. Couple of silver nugs. Oh yeah, nothing of particular value. I can buy 4 apples. I've just been assuming that this apple merchant is gonna have an unlimited stock, but he might disappear at some point. I don't know, like, he's here every day though, always selling 4 apples.
Poproszę.
Proszę bardzo. Proszę. 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 Wybacz, no ale dziękuję za zainteresowanie.
Oh, what? He might be done now. What happened?
Poproszę ja.
Wybacz, sprzedałem już wszystkie jabłka. No ale dziękuję za zainteresowanie.
He might be done. Speak of the devil. I based my whole decision on taking money instead of apples from the mine because I was like, well, this guy seems to always just sell 4 apples a day for 4 gold. So if I wanted to take the time, you know, and just sleep and buy, sleep, buy, sleep, buy, it would be more cost effective that way. Now I think he's done selling apples, like as soon as I made that decision. Ah, that's what this game does to me. Like, I spend all this time thinking and deliberating about options and trying to optimize things, and then the game pulls the rug out from under me after I make a decision and commit to one thing.
Co ty tam robisz?
I'm just sleeping until the next morning to see if Appleman is gonna be back. Appleman,
Mądra
Appleman.
decyzja.
Sell me your apples. Let's see if the ring guy, this fraud hadn't locked his door, I might have been able to sleep there, but now the Appleman is gone, of course. That's how it goes. Does Tangrel or whoever sell books?
Ej, ty.
Hey, you. Show me your goods. He does sell books. Yeah, the Blessed Continent. I have 1 volume of that, I think. I have volume 5 already. So I don't have to buy 5, but I can buy 1, 2, 3, and 4. And I don't care about Circles of Magic. So the Blessed Continent Volume 1, a book about cultural differences on the continent. Only worth 50 XP. No traveler known to the world whose name has been written in gold in the pages of history has been able to estimate the size and shape of the entire continent. From numerous books and reports, however, we know that it is vast, stretching from the windswept plains of Noridmar in the north to the sun-baked wastelands of Verant in the south. It is separated from the east by the blue surface of the Sea of Myrtana and from the west by the boundless steppes stretching for hundreds of miles. Politicians, for simplicity or to seek the king's approval, often refer to it as the largest political entity on it, the Kingdom of Myrtana. Scholars, on the other hand, prefer to use the name the Blessed Continent, for it is a blessing to have peoples with vastly different traditions, beliefs, and forms of government living side by side. Despite innumerable political and religious conflicts, plagues, and migrations, the continent's three dominant cultures, Mauritanian, Nordmarian, and Varantian, have stood the test of time, becoming an inseparable part of it. Book 2. According to the few surviving sources, we know that the area of present-day Myrtana was once covered by dense forests where trolls, shadow beasts, and much older beasts, forgotten by time, reigned. One day, however, a creature unknown to these lands appeared within their borders. It was a man. In the midst of unspoiled forest and wilderness, huts sprang up one after another like mushrooms, which with time began to grow into wooden settlements, then villages, and finally brick cities. While the evidence is clear that the first people to arrive on the east coast of the continent were the Myrtanians, they were soon joined by two other groups. The first, wandering for weeks through the inhospitable southern wilderness, established a settlement of Varant in the Anhita River basin. The second group took the northern route along the ridge of the Ash Mountains, which led them to the valley battered by the freezing winds. There they established a stronghold of Fjellborg, the capital of present-day Nordmar. Although the members of each culture share many similarities, the lands on which they made their homes, the customs they followed, and the faith to which they gave their hearts have all conditioned their sovereignty over the years. Volume 3. According to a report by royal scribe Savinus, native Myrtanians make up a second part of the total population of the known part of the continent. However, it is not surprising. For the Kingdom of Myrtana in its current dimension, it is the beating heart of human civilization, and its kings, like good shepherds, tirelessly carry the light to people all over the world. How, then, in the proximity of Myrtana, did the Varantians and Nordmarians manage to preserve their cultural identity? The answer lies in geography. For a single trade route leads from Myrtana to Varant, situated between Ruby Bay to the south and the slopes of the Ash Mountains to the north. Nordmar, on the other hand, is a valley surrounded on all sides by mountain ranges that naturally separate the land from the influence of the outside world. The spirit of Varantians and Nordmarians is extremely difficult to break. Living in the shadow of orc bands of the northern plains, the people of Nordmar must always remain vigilant to defend their homes. The Varantians have never had enough natural resources themselves, so they learned to take from others. Both of these cultures are characterized by hardiness, which has no doubt helped them keep their integrity. Volume 4. Experience plus 50 and permanent 7 hit points. I guess I already read book 5. It is important to remember that the climate of both lands plays an important role in formation and maintenance of the sovereignty of the cultures of Varant and Nordmar. Because of the dry season that lasts nearly 8 months in the middle Varant area, its inhabitants like to wear light jackets or leather capes and airy linen pants. The huts of the Varantians often have no shutters or doors and are replaced by curtains stretched across the entire width of the hut, protecting the inhabitants from the sun and insects. Not to mention sand blowing in. The people of Nordmar, on the other hand, are accustomed to wearing thick sheepskin coats, insulated pants, and heavy coats to keep out the cold. Unlike the inhabitants of Varant and Myrtana, they live in houses made of hard-sawn logs covered with a thick layer of clay on the outside and animal skins. The climate of Varant and Nordmar are also influenced the style of fighting preferred by the inhabitants of these countries. Clad in light, unrestricted clothing, Varants prefer to wield light one- or two-handed weapons such as semites? I'm not familiar with what type of weapon that is. Is that a scimitar or a saber? Samites or simites and javelins. The Nordmarians, on the other hand, tightly wrapped in several layers of clothing, have limited mobility, so they usually train to fight with straight, double-edged wedges or axes. Double-edged wedges or axes, valuing above all the power and momentum of their blows. That's two weird weapon forms that are very uncharacteristic. I don't know what wedges means in weapon form. But faith in Innos, the patron saint of Myrtana, is being tested day by day in the face of the war with the orcs, the plague plaguing the south of the kingdom, and the unrest in the streets of Vengard. And as the main religion on the continent wanes, the other religions gain followers. Although the origins of the belief in Beliar and Varant are shrouded in mystery, the Book of Fire speaks of 4 black mages who instilled a hatred for Innos into the people of this land. Scholars, on the other hand, argue that the Lord of Death originated in the hearts of the people as an idea to counterbalance the Myrtanians who were leading the continent. Ugh. A lot of reading. It is worth noting, however, that this religion promotes the cult of strength and the power of the strong over the weak, in which, in turn, fits perfectly with the plundering nature of the Varantians. The people of Nordmar, on the other hand, are not a people of deep faith. Day after day they struggle against nature, which usually provides them with generous harvests, and they have long since learned to trust their own abilities. There are, however, those who make symbolic offerings, whether out of tradition or precaution, to unspecified nature deities, at the edges of forests, in rushing streams, and on snowy mountain slopes. Those are the druids. Okay. So that's that. I'm gonna guess the, whatever sales guy is not gonna have books. No, he's just got his ridiculous little counterfeit idol statue things. How about y'all? Were there other named fire mages who would sell anything? Neither of you guys sell anything, do you? You guys shouldn't be selling stuff. Fire mage. Fire mage. Trimegist, I think I've talked to this guy at one point in one of my recordings sessions that got lost.
Kim jesteś?
Czy barwy mojej szaty nic ci nie mówią, synu? Jestem skromnym sługą Inosa, a jeśli pytasz o moje śmiertelne imię, nazywam się Trimegisto.
Znasz się na zaklęciach?
Inos w swej mądrości obdarzył mnie wiedzą, dzięki której zgłębiłem najwyższe kręgi magii. Jednak bez wiary moje zaklęcia byłyby niczym więcej jak kuglarskimi sztuczkami.
Często z nich korzystasz?
Nie używam zaklęć na co dzień, ale wiem, że gdybym poprosił, mój pan odpowiedziałby na moje wezwanie.
Trudno jest zostać magiem?
Tylko wąskie grono nowicjuszy zostaje magami kręgu ognia. Zanim to jednak nastąpi, kandydaci muszą wykazać się 3 cnotami: silną wiarą, głęboką mądrością i niezłomną wolą. Potem są poddawani długim i dokładnym próbom, podczas których sprawdzane są ich zdolności magiczne. A jeśli przez lata służby pokornie wypełniają wolę Pana, mają szansę dostąpić zaszczytu noszenia szat, takich jak te, które mam na sobie.
Jesteś arcymagiem?
Z woli Inosa tak się stało. Ten tytuł to wielki dar, ale i równie wielka odpowiedzialność. Każdego dnia dziękuję Panu za łaskę, jaką mnie obdarował, i modlę się o siły, abym dalej mógł mu służyć u boku pozostałych członków Najwyższej Rady.
No goods for sale. Possible that I'll have more interactions with him later for a quest, perhaps. But we'll see. How do I exit? This way.
Nie wolno naruszać boskiego porządku.
Naprawdę, sama widziałam.
Możemy jedynie przeczekać.
I don't think I have any business with Luna. She won't let me take a loan, and I don't want to take a loan. Neither of these guys is gonna have books, right? He's still not gonna have any better recipes, any crafting recipes than what I'm already using, right? What is my current damage? 105 or something? Yeah.
Ej, ty.
He doesn't even have an inventory. Seriously doubt the butcher has anything. Slogger?
Hej, ty.
Hey, you. Just the known recipes. Thing that I'm interested in right now. I can pay this guy a few hundred to improve my armor that I will promptly outgrow.
Hej, ty.
Show me your goods. Yeah, nothing that I particularly want. Upgrade armor. Enhanced senior runner's armor. Sure. Why not? Does that actually increase the sell value? I don't know that it does. That's kind of a bummer. Alright, where am I on the city map? It would help if I look at the map with the marked locations on it. The Herbalist Sisters might possibly have something book-wise, but otherwise I think it's mainly limited to the guild areas. Where is the Guild Sisters, or the Herbalist Sisters? They're like way to my left, okay.
Bardzo typowe.
Nie zdziwiłoby mnie to.
Hey, you.
Przyszedłem odebrać nagrodę za przestępcę.
Nasza wyspa od razu stała się bezpieczniejsza. Proszę, twoja nagroda.
Yeah, that wet bandit was the single dangerous thing on this entire island.
W dobrych czasach.
And I'm not joking about that.
Mój mąż uważa inaczej.
Na pewno sobie poradzisz.
Once again, I've gotten turned around. Where are they? Straight ahead? But down a level? This is,
Słyszałam, że dzięki tobie Ramcha ciągle
I-
jest wśród nas.
yes.
Ochrona jej była moim zadaniem. Po prostu się z niego wywiązałem.
Może i tak, ale jestem ci bardzo wdzięczna. Weź to, jako taki bonus ode mnie.
Thank you, bonus. Show me your goods.
Co masz na...
Wybierz, co cię
No books. I could have bought some of these instead of tracking down the whatchamacallits. I need dried fruit to cook some recipe for what's her face. Where do you guys have a stove? Yes, you do. So if I prepare a meal, what is that dried fruit compote is the thing, right? I need 2, which means I need to buy 4 in order to make 2 of them. By the way, was that a permanent potion? An elixir? Here it is. Maximum hit point bonus. Very nice. Show me your goods.
mamy.
You have... It's gonna cost me 30 for each of these, though. Goodness. 120 gold just to make those 2 recipes. Wow. Like, it's almost not worth it. How much is what's-her-face? How much is Jill gonna pay me if I'm spending 30 gold on that? Like, maybe she'll give me 60 gold for the completed recipe, which would be exactly what I spent on the thing. But a lot of times she doesn't pay that much, so I don't know. You have miscellaneous wares. You have books? Look at that. Azure Sales. This is a completely unexpected dude to just have lore tomes. I don't think I've read any of this Azure Sales. Oh my god, there's so many of these. They're a little bit more expensive. I wonder what bonus I will get for reading all of these. So we have 8 volumes of Azure Sales. Gotta take some water before I start this one. Here we are. So, from time immemorial, man has longed to travel. No wonder, after all, they are embedded in our blood. What? That doesn't make sense. From time immemorial, man has longed to travel. No wonder, after all, they are embedded in our blood. What is they? Our ancestors already knew that expeditions are necessary to provide shelter and food for their loved ones. We are also driven by simple human curiosity. The desire to know what lies beyond the next hill, bay, and sea caused our civilization to reach the limits of the currently known world. Travel, however, not only expanded our knowledge of different lands and their inhabitants, but also contributed to many discoveries in science and crafts. To travel across the vast seas, we had to learn navigation based on the position of the sun and stars in the sky. Sea voyages also required us to design and build sturdy boats and ships capable of carrying people and goods over long distances. Over the years, man began to see the benefits of frequent travel. It allowed us to season our meats with spicy red pepper and enjoy the sweetness of honeyed tobacco at the end of a workday. Travel also caused the establishment of settlements on newly discovered lands where local businesses flourished. Over time, the people who settled there began to form trade associations, from which emerged the incomparable Archolos Merchant Guild. Volume 2. Although today the leading in trade Archolos Guild and all its branches is an integral part of Myrtana, its origins are shrouded in a tumultuous conflict that challenged the economy of the kingdom for many years. When news of King Maximus III's conquest of the Eastern Archipelago spread around the world, the new colonies became a temptation for many merchants whose ships flocked to the new colonies. As Burfeld, then scribe of the Archolos City Hall, wryly observed, there were days when I saw more frigates in the harbor than debtors in my account book. The king was at first pleased with the benefits that the fledgling colonies brought to trade. No wonder. Trade was, after all, a kind of spark that lit a fire in the economically ossified Myrtanian stove. Leather, weapons, tobacco, and jewels came to the east. To the west, ships laden with wine, silver, salt, and textiles sailed. The plan, which at first bore fruit, began to turn against Maximus over time. The colonies, which were many miles away from Vanguard, were more willing to accept the authority of the merchants than that of the king's envoys. The bolder, more self-sufficient posts, in turn, began to decide the economy and politics, and even minted their own coins. King Maximus's attempt to negotiate with merchants proved futile. The sails of their ships were less and less decorated with Myrtana's emblems, and instead they bore the symbol of newly founded unions and guilds. At the gates of trading posts, one could find not vendors, but armed to the teeth mercenaries. Many blame King Domenico I for the outbreak of the rebellion, who years earlier had given traders a modern fleet. Although he undoubtedly gave the rebels the tools, the real initiator of the revolt was a wealthy merchant Deliverd. Upon hearing of new colonies in the east, he moved to them his fortune and began investing in local resources, which he taxed heavily. Delaware soon became the most influential magnate in the Eastern Archipelago. The only thing that stood in his way of becoming a trade hegemon... A hegemon? I figure that's hegemony. So hegemon was the royal procedures, which significantly delayed the transport of goods on the continent. With the help of corsairs from local isles, Delaware efficiently avoided the main merchant routes. Volume 4. As Maximus, opening the islands of the Eastern Archipelago to the world through the baits of the merchants, so Delaware decided to grab the whole rod. One night, he and the leaders of the influential merchant guilds signed a treaty creating the Eastern League, which effectively took control of the colonies. The effects of his decision, however, were lamentable for the continent. The royal treasury received only a fifth of the gold from the trade in goods, as a result of which the south of Myrtana was plagued by poverty, famine, and disease. With time, people began to take to the streets of the cities, demanding decisive action from the authorities. Rebellions and executions of royal emissaries ensued, and the country was plagued into chaos for many years. Maximus was succeeded by his son, Mandred the Harsh, who vowed that he would not rest until the colonies returned to Myrtana. However, if the tales are to be believed, the real cause of the conflict was the dumping of an entire supply of swamp wheat into the sea before it reached the harbor of Vengard. The king, famous for his love of this once popular and legal stimulant, took the insult personally. War was inevitable. Halfway through! The emptiness of the treasury did not give Mandred hope for a quick conscription of an army and an effective offensive. The king then decided to pardon some of the convicts, whom he ordered to be trained and armed in the manner of connects. I don't know what connects is. Kinda seems like that's a weird translation of knights, but I don't know. This decision caused strong opposition in the ranks of professional soldiers and commanders, but all signs of rebellion were nipped in the bud. Excuse me. Despite the initial success of Mandred's campaign, the conflict stalled. The Eastern League, with its superior navy, easily won clashes at sea, cutting the Myrtanians off from regular supplies from the continent. On land, the king's unleashed soldiers brought order to the rebellious populace with fire and sword. Just when it seemed that neither side would be able to fully defeat the other, Mandred resorted to trickery. In a sham peace treaty with the governors of the Eastern League, Mandred used bribed merchants to slaughter his opponents, including Delaware, putting an end to the rebellion. With the death of the mutiny's leaders during the infamous Red Pact, the Eastern League ceased to exist, and so did the archipelago's dreams of autonomy. By decree, King Mandred appropriated some of the ships and assets of the trade associations and replaced the League with the Guild of Archolos, subordinate to the kingdom. In addition, the ruler withdrew the coins minted by the merchants from circulation and established new trade routes which from now on passed through checkpoints established by him. Although these decisions provided the kingdom with transparency in the circulation of goods, the economic losses were irreparable. Most of the goods being transported arrived at their destination spoiled or damaged as a result of long days at sea or overzealous searches. Ships were often damaged or pirated during the voyage, and Mandred, who was at war with the Southerners at the time, was reluctant to spend resources on saving trade. During the interregnum, another word I've never heard before. I wish I had a really handy dictionary to look that up right now, but I don't. But during the interregnum and later the partition of Myrtana, the position of the Archolos Guild was bleak. Many of its trading posts were converted into hospitals for wounded soldiers and insurgents. In turn, the lack of an organized leadership and the divergence of policies brought more and more confusion to its ranks. But this first paragraph, it said that by decree, King Mandred appropriated some of the ships and assets of the trade associations and replaced the League with the Guild of Archolos, subordinate to the kingdom. So that kind of does make it sound like this was, you know, a government-run thing. I guess they're being subsidized. I don't know if that means that it's not like officially run by the king, by the kingdom. After the Great War with the Orcs, Robar II became a symbol of the kingdom's reconstruction, a ray of sunshine in a land strewn with death. For the Archolos Guild, it was 3 entrepreneurs who were elected to the organization's governing body. Fernando chose the city of Corinus as his headquarters. Thanks to his generous donations, the flow of magic ore from the Valley of Mines was improved. Lorenzo was given the title of chairman of the Guild Hall on Archolos. In a short time, he restored it to its former glory and established a key trading post on Glenveer. Rhina, in turn, set out for the remote island of Laran. She erected a mining outpost in the vast marshes, a source of precious crystals. This Elder Council gathers once a year with other influential guild members to discuss matters of importance. Their meetings are always held in secret, and members are identified by carved rings made of special alloy. So Fernando, we know from Gothic 2, and from Night of the Raven, we know that he was involved with weapon smuggling. And I don't remember if Araxos is mentioned in Gothic 2 Vanilla, but I think in Night of the Raven, you find his Araxos ring in like a weapons shipment or a bandit headquarters or somewhere. Somehow that's one of the pieces of evidence that links him to the weapons trade. And now the final volume, +2 dexterity. Not many years had passed when black clouds once again hung over the future of the Guild of Araxos. The Second War with the Orcs broke out, and after the collapse of the royal fleet at the Battle of the Eastern Archipelago, Robar II issued an edict claiming ownership of all ships in the seas, including merchant vessels. The efforts of Ronya, archivist of the trading post on Archolos, proved that as a result of this decision, the Guild of Araxos lost 20 hulks, 16 carracks, 8 frigates, and 5 galleons to the king. So, hulks and carracks are classifications of ships that I've never heard of before. I'm familiar with the term frigate and galleon, though. Although the Elder Council succeeded in convincing the Myrtanian authorities of the need for mercenary units, the losses caused by the confiscation of the ships are no longer counted in tens, but hundreds of carts of gold. Since the rumors of pirates and orc galleys constantly recur, it can be assumed that the golden age of trade is over. People increasingly say that colonies cut off from the world would rather drown in internal conflicts than restore their former power. On the lips of merchants and sailors, however, there is just as often an old sailor's proverb: as long as the breeze blows, the blue sails of Araxos will flutter on the seas of the world. Goodness. So now that it's getting late in the afternoon, my day is finally wrapping up in this city. This guy doesn't have anything, does he? Show me your goods. He's got nothing. He's got pumpkins. He's got apples. I guess I could be buying raspberries, but I really don't care. I'll buy some pumpkins. More pumpkins, the better. You know what? Why don't I buy some of these too? I'll need those for making, what is it, pastries? Okay, so that leads to the bathhouse and the broken string. And the broken string probably won't have anything. It should just have generic food and drinks. Gerstand. Show me your goods. Generic food and drinks, as far as I can tell. And a bunch of recipes that I already know. Don't care. Auf Wiedersehen. That's the east gate, so I don't want to drop out there. And either way, I wanted to stop in. There's more merchants and people to talk to make sure I get my credit for my stuff before I head out of town anyway. Like, does the museum guy sell anything? Myron. I just brought some old coins. How many do I have to give him? I've got 50. That might be a magic number. Why don't I try giving him 50 gold coins? Curious, how long was it? 47 minutes. Oh, jeez. I brought some old
Przyniosłem
coins. 5 gold coins.
Doskonale, teraz tylko je wypolerować i będą wyglądały jak nowe. Doskonale,
Well, I'm getting experience for it, so that's kind of cool.
Gdyby nie ci parszywi bandyci i inne bestie, to sam bym wyruszył na ich poszukiwania. Dzięki za twoją nieocenioną pomoc. Znalazłeś już więcej monet niż połowa moich poprzednich dostawców. Trzymaj, mogą ci się przydać w dalszych poszukiwaniach.
Okay. Couple healing potions. That was 15, I think. Here's 20.
Gdyby nie ci parszywi bandyci... Doskonale, teraz
25.
tylko je... Gdyby nie ci parszywi bandyci,
30.
naprawdę masz oko do antyków. Zazwyczaj tego nie robię, ale sporo moich eksponatów tylko zajmuje mi miejsce w skrzyniach. Skoro tak dobrze nam się współpracuje, to możemy od czasu do czasu pohandlować swoimi znaleziskami.
Oh. Now he's a trader. Look at that.
Doskonale, teraz tylko je wypolerować.
What is that, 35?
Doskonale, teraz tylko je... Doskonale, teraz chciałbym jakoś ci się dodatkowo odwdzięczyć za twoją pomoc z tymi monetami. Jakiś czas temu wszedłem w posiadanie tego dziwnego miecza. Kowal powiedział, że niezbyt nadaje się do walki. Obywatele uważają go za odrażający i nie chcą go tu widzieć. Może ty znajdziesz dla niego jakieś zastosowanie?
Now he says give all old coins. How many do I have left, though? 5? I have 5 old coins. What was an old sword? Broken off pieces look a bit like a key. It's like as a puzzle item, I guess. Not worth a lot to sell. It's kind of a neat looking sword. Can I get a better look at that? Like, what does that look like? I mean, for some reason, I'm getting, like, sleeper vibes off of it. I think it's just with the way the claws are kind of sticking out from the side of it. Reminds me a little bit of the sleeper mask image. I don't recognize anything else on it, and I'm not sure where it would be used as a key if it is used as a key. So I guess I just need to hold on to that and not lose it. Or what if I give this guy 5 more old coins?
Przyniosłem
Doskonale.
Just more money and XP. Alright. Show me your goods. Oh, he's got a lot of books. Oh, God. I wanted to go looking for books, but I did not expect there to be this many books. More boxer's rings. There's another ring of Archolos. That's pretty good. That's just straight up 8 protection to all types. Alright, I'll read all these books. Well, that's This has become the episode of reading. Friggin' 10 volumes of this. Gotta get more water again. Here we go. The first records about the town known as Archolos, meaning everything that surrounds us, date back many years before Volsak's birth. The prefix Arch, as in kingly, was added when he became king. We can assume that the name Archolos means kingdom. Years before, Island was home to many tribes. Volsak, leader of the mountain tribe, wanted to end the era of conflict. He challenged the ruler of Archolos to a fight which ended as soon as it started. Seeing their leader fall, people proclaimed Volsak a king. During the reign of Wolf of Archolos, the settlement consisted of nothing more than several clay-made huts and even fewer wooden houses inhabited by the rich. The stone keep of the ruler was situated in the eastern part of the town, near the mountain range where today the old town is located. Up north from there was a fishing hamlet, which in time expanded to the size of a village. Volsak, aware of the evident profits of seafaring, joined the seaside settlement to the town and erected a high fence around the entire agglomeration. Volume 2. After the conquest of Archolos by King Maximus III, the island fell into the hands of Myrtanians, and with it began the age of grand changes. The new ruler promised to pardon people who were once loyal to Volsak's sons. The king allowed them to keep their offices under one condition. They had to bow their heads before Enos and consider Maximus their new ruler. The king also conducted reforms of administration. Many solutions utilized in Vanguard were introduced at that time. Although in the effect the old culture was rooted out of the city, the management vastly improved ever since. Another step the new ruler took was getting rid of the elders. In their place, a governor, together with judges and their deputies, were appointed. In time, when the new system began to function properly, the latter were delegated to other duties, and a new office of the royal scribe was created, focused on citizens' matters. Even long years after the conquest, Maximus was aware of the risk of rebellion. Thus, he decided to leave the garrison of the royal guard in Archolos until a trained unit of a city guard is created. The work of rebuilding Archolos by the Myrtanian style began with replacing gravel paths with paved roads intertwined with arcades and overpasses erected by a famous sculptor, Alberto of Corinus. At the same time, the building of the town sewers began, which were meant to help residents get rid of waste. Before the Myrtanian invasion, most of the huts and houses in the town were constructed of wood, and thus they were vulnerable to natural forces. To increase their durability, the authorities reinforced stone buildings using the timber farming method widely used across Myrtana. The changes also occurred within the Old Town. Due to strategic reasons, Maximus decided to tear down old quarters that had belonged to elders and replace them with a town hall. He also demolished the wooden palisades surrounding the Old Town and erected stone walls together with 2 gates. As the years went by, another 2 were added in the middle. In the western part of Archolos, in no more than a year, the authorities built a magnificent church of Enos next to the small chapel which remembers the days of the invasion. It is the highest building in town to this day and serves as a significant landmark. Maximus knew that the true protection to the growing town can provide only durable fortifications, so he surrounded the entire urban area with stone walls. Later, the king also erected a wide barbican protecting the western gate. Words about the king's victory on Archolos swept the seas in just a few weeks. Merchants, adventurers, and common people alike would come to the shores on their boats, cutters, and frigates, hoping to better their financial situation. It was not long before the town streets would be teeming with outsiders from all around the world. Seeing great numbers of refugees crowding in, Governor Godfrey expanded the harbor area and appointed a group of additional officials to better control the newcomers. On the other hand, to ease the hardship of their journey, he allowed them to build temporary huts near the shore. But nobles of Archolos did not trust foreigners and demanded to close the town borders indefinitely. Although this decision would appease one influential group of citizens, it would also plunge the entire region into economic crisis. Godfrey had to tread lightly, as every decision was bound to a risk. Despite dividing the town into separate districts, foreigners still crowded in the harbor, each with a story to tell, experience, and prejudices. An overpopulated shore more and more resembled an overpopulated shore more and more resembled a pot that could spill at any moment. Determined to stop the uncontrollable influx of outsiders, the governor built a wall on the border with a harbor guarded by royal guard. His decision angered foreigners who started a revolt which lasted many days. Although the uprising was brutally quenched, it was never forgotten. The outsiders tried to make their ends meet in any way possible. Smuggling and uncontrolled trade of swampweed flourished on Archolos, which forced Maximus to put an embargo on its distribution. The line between the rich and the poor was more and more visible, and people's trust in authorities was forever tarnished. It was a time when the faith in Innos weakened amongst commoners, and the religion of Adonos increased. Water mages took advantage of this tendency and built a chapel in the harbor, which to this day remains open for the sick and poor. Despite dividing the town into separate districts, foreigners still crowded in the harbor, each with a story to tell, experience, and prejudices. An overpopulated shore, more and more that resembled a pot that could... But... I've read this. How did I not move over? What happened? Something weird happened. Somehow I like over-clicked or something. Let me double check. I read this one. Read this one. Read this one. Read this one. I guess I didn't read this one originally. So although Godfrey did not want to take any side, he had a plan up his sleeve. The governor divided Archolos into districts, hoping to better control the influx of foreigners skilled in different trades. The first district was the Old Town, where only the rich citizens of Archolos were allowed to live. After that, a residential district was built for the middle class, which until today remains the largest of all, stretching between both outer gates. Later, the craftsman district was created, which gathered people working in different trades. As the last one, the merchant district was demarcated, which initially covered the area of today's barracks, the western part of the town, and the temple district. Each of the districts was also separated with a specific building layout designed in a way to help people move around the town. Although the governor's plan had its merits, some openly opposed it. The indigenous residents accused authorities of segregating people on those of better stock, foreign, and the worse, local. And they were partly right. Nobles simply refused to breathe the same air as commoners. So this is the one that was talking about people becoming disillusioned with the government and the riots or whatever, swampweed, and then Mage's Temple. After the unsuccessful conquest of Contir and Glenveer, the king continued to the mainland and took with him almost the entire army. This decision was met with mixed feelings from the inhabitants of Archolos. The locals were afraid of another rebellion. Foreigners, on the other hand, saw their chance for gaining more rights. The governor made sure that all of them were content. From the selected group of citizens, Godfrey appointed a unit of the city guard, tasked to maintain law and order after the king's departure. Soon after, the barracks were built in the middle of the town. Regular guardsmen and elite companies of crossbowmen became an armed wing of Archolos. The governor also simplified the way of attaining citizenship by foreigners. Instead of waiting long years for their turn, all they had to do was convince several influential people in the town about their usefulness to society. Eventually, envoys of many guilds and trade companies began to invest their wealth into local markets. There was plenty of work with transporting goods as well as in sale, thus many new opportunities were open for citizens and foreigners alike. Godfrey should have listened to the words of an old scribe, Holger. Never trust a merchant. Give them a finger and they'll chop your hand off. Okay. Not for what you hold in it, but for the ring you're wearing. That's a bit more like it. But Holger died, and soon after Godfrey, both of an unspecified illness. The new governor, Karsten, despite high hopes, for he was of noble blood, was a mediocre administrator and even worse politician. He did nothing to resolve the troll problem in the sewers, and as a result, people began to spill all the filth right in the streets, as they do to this day on Landrum. Really. Some began to suspect that the governor is but a puppet in the hands of trade guilds, which have been gaining more and more power in town. The doubts were quelled the moment Carson realized that he no longer needed the support of the town council, whose members he drove out of the town hall. The governor befriended, however, a group of merchants with a Myrtanian trade magnate, Deliverd. If the stories are true, during a night-long libation, Carson signed a treaty appointing the Eastern League, which led to declaring an open rebellion against the crown. And we learned a little bit about that in the history of the Archolos Guild. Although at first it could appear that Carson fell victim to his fondness for beverages, the document was signed, and in time the governor began to realize what he had done. The Eastern League became a fact. Banners of Myrtana disappeared from the town hall building, walls, and city gates, and in their place appeared a sign of a triple knot symbolizing the islands of Archolos, Landrum, and Contir, which first revolted against the kingdom. After them, Lauran, Eritros, and smaller islands of the New Lands and Eastern Archipelago succeeded from Myrtana. Patrols of the city guard were replaced by groups of mercenaries serving not law but coin. Karsten understood what he had done with a single swing of his quill. However, it was too late to stop the chain of events. In his grief, the governor threw himself from the highest window of the town hall to save his name from an entire shame. The king of Myrtana, Mandred, decided to quench the rebellion by sending a well-equipped armed force across the sea. Although the war only grazed Archolos, hastily formed units of men at arms laid waste to the countryside, murdering, pillaging, and burning whatever they found in their way. Every time this font uses those hyphens, they do it space, hyphen, space, and they make it look like an M dash, which is more of like a semicolon, like it's a formatting thing to separate clauses, and it throws my brain off every single time when it's supposed to be a hyphenated phrase or word and not syntax. But here we go, Volume 10. +2 strength, very nice. Having lost contact with most of its harbor towns, the fleet of the Eastern League was defeated and the organization itself dissolved. King Mandred brought peace to the rebelled colonies and rebuilt the administrative system. He also appointed the only legal merchant union in Myrtana, the Archolos Guild. One of the first guild houses emerged on Archolos in the western part of the merchant district. Many years later, Governor Morris allowed the guild's chairman to build quarters for mercenaries, people who sought fame and fortune in the service of the organization. After the fall of the Eastern League, patrols of the city guard returned to the streets, but their old prestige did not. They lacked discipline and equipment, which made people doubt the efficiency of order in Archolos. Only today, under Captain Roderick, the city guard began to regain its respect. Years passed and Archolos managed to overcome storms that crashed against it. Its people, however, no longer resembled their forefathers. They are proud and hardened in the fire of history and ready to face the winds of war, which slowly blow closer to their home. So here's a question. Mechanically, with this engine, is there any way to make these books have pages where you can turn a page? Or is it always just a is there no way to do that? Because it would be kind of nice to have some of this stuff in one book instead of spread out over 10 volumes. You know, just for the sake of less clutter in the inventory. But, it would be nice. I'm curious to know if that's a possibility or not. Ah, man. There's been a lot of reading in this session.
Czego tutaj szukasz?
Well,
Odejdź!
what I want is to sleep in your personal bed, lady. I spent all day reading books instead of exploring and fighting, doing
Mądra
quests.
decyzja.
Alright. Is that right? 54? Yeah. So, my goodness, an hour and 15 minutes, huh? How am I doing on XP? I'm getting closer to a level up. Starting to feel a little better that I might be able to get 2 more level ups and get the, the Master Alchemy that I want. Do you sell any bestiary entries? Show me your goods. He does not sell bestiary entries. I don't believe there's anything of value here. Who is the other person who sells bestiary entries? Garros? Did Carden at Silbach have any? These guys aren't going to have anything of value, will they? Hello. Show me your goods. Nothing of value. I'm not even gonna look at him. I know he's got nothing. Generic traders, show me your goods. You've got, surprisingly, some randomly valuable stuff. But nothing that I want. Elid, show me your goods. He's got a bunch of belts. This might be worth it just for the acrobatics skill. That way I can maybe jump across certain ledges and things. Because if acrobatics is learned the same way, where you have to get, what, 90 dexterity or something, and you get it automatically? It's not like Gothic 1 where you learn it as a skill. Then it might be nice to get this just so I can have that option. I'm gonna try that. Show me your goods. Show me your acrobatic belt. So, artifacts. Where is it? Acrobatics belt. So now... Whoops. Woo! Look at that. I can put this on also when I want to do the quick running system. Ooh. I think this is actually marginally faster than just running. Still, it's 500 gold. That's fairly expensive. I think I need like 4,000 gold or more to learn alchemy, so hopefully I have plenty of money in all of these trophies, and I guess I might want to try to save all these until I'm an apprentice with Davis, if I do that. I've also got a bunch of weapons I can sell, so hopefully I have enough to make up for that later. I don't think I want to be running around with this belt on right now. Show me your goods. He's got apples. Perennial Araxos wine. So this stuff costs 15. So yeah, that's kind of where the meat pack or the snack pack probably gets more of its total value from. It's really more than just the apples. It's the wine, and there's optional or extra benefit from the raspberries that frankly doesn't matter to me. But I could sell all of my reptile skins and maybe get a decent amount of money from her. I think she doubles the price that she buys them for if I become her apprentice. This guy did not want to ask me for money.
Hey.
Show me your goods. You got nothing, not even dragon roots or king sorrels. I need... show me your goods. I'll buy your one apple. Eh. Eh. Oh, he's got another apple. That's 5 protection to everything, and then it's a little extra health and strength. Nah, never mind. She only has spell scrolls. Show me your goods. Yeah. Don't care about spell scrolls.
Chcę...
No benefit there.
Co sły...
Mamy mnóstwo robot.
You don't sell anything. Does Griff sell the bestiary entries?
Pokaż mi.
Here we go. The People of the North. I don't think I have that book. It would be nice if those books would tell me if I read them or not. I do have The People of the North. Do I have Secrets of Minecrawlers? Oh, I'm not spending $1,000 on that. Not right now, at least. Desert Wanderer's Diary. I'm going to assume I don't have that. Good golly, these things are kind of expensive, though. Bats, bears, crabs, frogmen, golems, harpies, crawlers, skeletons, snappers, mud turtles, zombie. Hey. A lot of money getting spent. Bats. Resistance to edge and blunt. Dark caves and city sewers. They're vulnerable to projectiles. I have 2 copies of this? How do I have 2 copies of this? I think I bought a copy of a book I already had. Bears. Resistance. Don't care. Black bear. The mass of these beasts makes them virtually unresponsive to the damage they receive. Their thick skin makes them resistant to even extremely powerful hits. So the advice is... the advice is just deal with it. Bloodflies I've already read, I think. Boars I've already read, I think. Crabs I've already read. Maybe not. Vulnerability. Blunt. Sure. Frogman. Vulnerability. Edge. Resistances. Projectile. Don't care. Beasts I think I've already read. Gobos I must have already read. I got 2 copies of that. Golems. Stone Golem and Swamp Golem, so vulnerability blunt, of course. Advice, if you can avoid it, do so. Most golems are adamant about guarding their territory. When their peace is not disturbed, they do not engage in combat. If you do have to fight one, prepare a melee weapon at all costs. Other weapons are practically ineffective. A potion of free fall will be an additional advantage. Golems can throw their opponents many meters away. So the Swamp Golem, slightly weaker than the stone counterparts, but just as dangerous. Behaviors of both species are very similar, making the tactics for fighting them also not different. Their susceptibility to fire is difficult to exploit due to their considerable protection against magic. It is best to prepare very strong fire spells. At all costs, avoid fighting in water. Avoid fighting in water. At all costs, avoid fighting in water golems. In water. See, now here it's an M dash. These are M dashes instead of hyphens. Golems, due to their mass and size, simply move on the bottom and can still crush with their powerful fists. Yeah. Harpy. Vulnerability projectiles, yada yada. Can fly high, strong gusts can damage their wings. Lurkers, I think I've read. Crawlers. That's a buttload of entries for crawlers. Mantis counts as a crawler, I guess. And we got Minecrawler drones. Surprisingly, these things are vulnerable to edge. I thought they had exoskeletons. Mole rats, I'm pretty sure I read. Rats, I would have already read. Scavengers I would have already read. Skeletons are new. They're weak to blunts, of course. Their bones are extremely difficult, falling, yada yada. Fight fragility due to location, dangerous opponents. Snappers. Windfall, mountain areas. Interesting. No specific useful vulnerability. It's best to dodge or charge and attack their back. Yep. Main weakness is their movements. The skilled swordsman can evade their attack, yada yada. Mud turtle, I think I may have already read. Apparently not. But they're weak to blunt. Unresponsive blows, cut the extremely sharp teeth. They move very slowly, used to your advantage. Wolves I would have already read. Zombie. Vulnerability edge, resistance to projectiles. Extremely slow but very tough and resistant to damage. Despite their decaying bodies, they do not react to blows dealt to them. I learned that the hard way. Even a single jerk from these tortured creatures can kill a human. Many of them lie in wait pretending to be dead in order to attack them. Oh. Now that I've got 1,000,000 books, it's going to take me a lot more effort to figure out what I have and have not read anytime I pick up a new thing. Like, I really need to find a place to stick some of these things I don't need anymore. Desert Wanderer's Diary. I'm traveling through the desert of Verant for the 3rd day already. The sun is mercilessly hot, the light oasis is far behind me, or the last oasis is far behind me, and I still can't see the next one. I don't know if it was a dream or a reality, but when exhausted, I sat down on the hot sand, and before noon I saw something extraordinary. At first I thought it was someone from the nomadic people who had been lost in the storm and was now looking for his settlement, and perhaps he could lead me further on. But the closer this strange figure came to me, the more I became convinced that I could look to him in vain for rescue. He's gonna take you on a... He's gonna help you come to terms with your pain and find... He's gonna, like, ease your pain, your emotional pain, and then he's gonna take you on a journey to find God at the center of the universe, and then God is going to use a starship for some nefarious purpose. Oh wait, this is a book about Verant, not a novelization of Star Trek V. Anyway, continuing on. It was a powerful and stocky man. His sharp look attested to strength and determination. I barely had time to raise my head before he disappeared from the horizon. In the midst of his dark, tangled robes, I saw something bright shining into the distance. It was some kind of weapon, perhaps a sword, that glinted with a strange purple hue. I felt a deep uneasiness, as if a dream phantom haunted me, wanting my doom. I hurriedly sketched the unusual object. I called it the Purple Nightmare. That means nothing to me. Getting close to that level up, though. Spending considerable amounts of money in the process. Don't think there are any merchants upstairs. No, one who comes and goes, nothing breathes. Okay. I think I'm good at this point to head out the west gate and look for... double check those scavengers near the burned huts that I think might be out there. I did forget to check this guy's inventory. Oh, I
Hey, ty.
think I can learn Master Apprenticeship with this guy without having to pay like I did with Bodavin. But I would need to double check. Like, he might possibly be chapter restricted. Ogden, I don't know if he'll teach me Master now or not. So I don't know if this guy would teach me Master now as well, but it seemed like Bodavin would. He just wants like 2,500 gold to do so. Somewhere over here, I think there are burned out huts directly ahead. that I have apparently, or possibly have not yet explored. Where am I on the map? So, yeah, I might not have explored any of this forested area, because I definitely explored this little nook to the right along the city walls, but I don't know that I ever came over here. And if I did, I have long since forgotten. There's a overgrown scavenger. This thing looks pretty gnarly. It's got like a bunch of extra feathers sticking out of its skin. Well, that was the bounty I was supposed to get from Garros. Caw-caw! Any goblin berries in these woods? I think that's going to be a bit of a reach. I don't think I can get here. I see a fireweed or a fire root. It's like if I were a goblin berry, right back in this little nook would be a decent spot for one. Could be moss or a dragon root on that rock. Probably not. A little too easy of a spot to get to for them to put goblin berries and dragon roots back here. A little too close to town, not guarded by any sort of difficult enemies. Fairly obvious to see and reach. The only remotely challenging thing is a bear. More feathers. Oh, hello. They ambushed me. They were lying in wait. Very nice. Stealing fresh scavenger eggs. Here's a magic book. Does me no good. I appreciate finding scavenger nests with eggs in them. I wish these were more prevalent. Oh, why did you just show up? Did this guy just spawn after I stole the eggs from the nest? Kind of late to the party. Now back to Garros to turn in the quest bounty. And I need the 12,500 or whatever. Probably it's like 12,250 or whatever. Experience for my next level up. Because I'm one learning point shy of mastering alchemy. Yeah. Such an odd number. Like, I wish there was another way that I could just get one learning point. No thank you. I have no desire to provide alms on this afternoon. It is afternoon. I had to double check. Hey, you.
Chcę
I got an overgrown scavenger.
Doskonale. To paskudztwo dostatecznie długo sprawiało już problemy. Trzymaj. Oto twoja nagroda.
Dzięki.
Sztok pijany.
Wszyscy uciekali jak zające. Byłem zupełnie sam.
Let's see if this guy randomly has more apples. Show me your goods. He does have another apple. Like, is he adding food to his inventory randomly
To przecież nic nowego.
as part of his idle animation? I think that might be what's happening. Okay, now what's in town is there to do? Nothing?
Hej,
I think I've done everything I
Zabierz
would have
mnie
wanted to
do-
do, so take me back to Rita's.
ależ oczywiście.
I can finish exploring that forest that I slipped off and almost broke my back on. There's a cave with skeleton gobos that I didn't get a chance to go in, and there might have been another cave against the mountain wall that I didn't get to check either, so... Mushroom. Here's the skeleton gobo. I'll check you later, after I kill these guys. I die a lot faster when I get the crit. Thank you. Will there be a shadow beast further in here? Or will there be adult skeletons? This guy's got a small lightning. Has randomly got magical abilities. I don't recognize the armor he's wearing. He's like got leather, dark leather adventurer's garb or something. Probably skeletons that are gonna rise up, but here's a teleporter circle. That's pretty cool. I guess there's a rune in here I can grab. Yes, just give me the one, please. Don't need to fight both at once. Come at me, bro. That was easy. You just kill them before they get up. That's the trick. Alright, so any of these gonna have a teleport rune in them? Old coin and a solid two-handed sword. It's got pretty decent value. Looks like a neat weapon, but not very useful to me as a one-hander. As a one-handed user. Teleport rune with the Circle 3 book. And here's Judgments of Stars. Spell damage. Mage staff, I don't really care about that. But here's the first shrine statue of Beliar that I've seen. So if this is like Night of the Raven, then I sacrifice health to get money. Which I don't need to do right now. Oh, yep, it's got that same glowy effect. 50 hit points. So that's almost positive that's going to be the same deal. Wanted to double check that I definitely saved before I interacted with this. So what if I give it 50 health? 500 gold. That's maybe a more extreme ratio than what Gothic 2 does. I don't know if it was 50 for 500 or if it was like 10 for 500. Might have been 30 health. I don't know. Seems like a lot more. A lot more health sacrificed in this version. So I thought there might have possibly been a cave entrance over here. I could be misremembering that. Actually, no, there was a cave entrance. It was just much closer to the farm. So it's going to be more over here and up the ledge. That's what it is. It's got mole rats in it. Easy peasy mole rats. I see a fireweed down there. And regular weeds, yeah, sure, I'll pick them up. They sell for 1 gold. That's 1 gold extra in my pocket. Oh, hello. There's another slidey pit of death. Let me up here. Did this guy jump in? They both did.
Niczego tu nie znajdę. Niczego tu nie znajdę.
Where's the other one? There we go. Did I hear a gobo? I see a gobo. And a person. And mole rats. Oh my god, don't fall off. This guy's gonna die. A saved you.
Cholera, stary.
It's
Myślałem, że
Neck.
wyzionę tu ducha. To by był wstyd umrzeć zagryzionym przez kretoszczury, co nie?
Można umrzeć na głupsze sposoby. Co tu robisz?
Zostałem wynajęty do ochrony pobliskiej winnicy. Patrolowałem ten obszar, kiedy nagle wyskoczyły na mnie te paskudy. Zjawiłeś się w samą porę. Dzięki.
This guy can't get a break.
Co teraz zrobisz?
Muszę dojść do siebie. Arita pewnie będzie mi suszyła głowę, dlaczego nie było mnie tak długo.
So, does he have an amulet that I can loot, perhaps?
Nie jesteś wcale taki głupi, na jakiego wyglądasz. Odłóż broń! Nie jesteś wcale taki głupi, na jakiego wyglądasz.
I want to beat him up. I want to see if he has an amulet with weapon defense or whatever.
Pożałujesz!
Did not get reported for a crime. Oh, they didn't give him a special amulet. That would have been a neat touch if he had weapon defense amulet. So obviously this guy is reference to Gothic 1, one of the early quests in the old campus to find
Mój łeb!
Neck. And he is found dead in a cave, having been killed by mole rats, so he narrowly escapes it this time after being saved by Marvin, but is not granted that grace in the colony. And I thought he was going to head back to Rita. Maybe I didn't read the dialogue closely enough.
Tam! To jeszcze jedno z tych nikczemnych stworzeń.
No. You guys just had to fall down into a really inconvenient spot, didn't you? So now I gotta come down here. Oh, wait. Hey, you guys are just completely crazy. Alright. No! Game, let me walk on thing, please, without force turning me at a rapid pace and then pushing me off the log. There we go. Something's skittering around over there. And I'm having a hard time telling if it's a field raider or a mine crawler. I feel like I should recognize the difference if there is one, but I'm not having any luck with that. Well, it might be a mine crawler then, because that sure looks like a mine entrance. Where am I? Rita's Vineyard. Near Rita's Vineyard. Right? Rita's Vineyard is number 12. Okay, I was looking at 6. I was like, wow, something's completely wrong. Do I want to explore all this right now? Not really. I'm gonna, I think, take a little bit of a break. Then I'll come back and explore some more of these immediate surroundings and then go talk to Rita and gang over yonder. This will be Rita Vineyard 2. Vinzard, because the keyboard layout is backwards. And then I can back up my saves and be good to go in the next one.